Good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into 104 through the Fans Coffee Break. D-Mac, Jake Shapiro, Rachel Beal hanging out with you because we need to talk about this Colorado Avalanche team. D-Mac, you were down at Ball Arena last night. It goes to a shootout. First game that had a 0-0 score at the end since 2015, I think. So that's crazy. Love to see it. But then I even love more seeing Georgiev go absolutely crazy and be able to stop. Although he did get lucky on one goal last night. I will say that looking at it. D-Mac, we love him, right? We're here for him. He's able to do out 26 saves. Incredible. Loved the game last night. It was totally fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Avs had a slow start to the game, and then they really picked up steam and momentum. They had, tons of high danger shots on Sorokin, and he played, boy, that dude played lights out. And Georgiev did make some good saves when he had to. Yeah. I mean, the Islanders got a little bit lucky. I think the Avs hit the pipe maybe 4 times during the course of the night. Mikko Rantanen was physically dominating everybody he was going against, and you just couldn't get the biscuit in the basket, as they say. So and then I asked Bednar after the game, does the game take on a different tone when all of a sudden everybody realizes, and you get that feeling about 10 minutes through the third, you realize, oh, wait, we're in one of these games. No score in the first doesn't matter. No score in the second is kind of like, but when you go halfway through the third and there's no score, and Bednar did admit there's a different vibe. There's a different sense of urgency on the forechecking, and it becomes tougher, and everything gets a little bit tighter. So the essence of the game actually does change, and the referees put away their whistles. But the big storyline from yesterday was they didn't have to put away their whistle because of Cale Makar.
I know.
I mean, did you understand what was happening when it was happening?
Watching it, no. I was so confused. And I was
Jake,
like,
I saw it and I was like, did he just do the commercial, like the PSA commercial? I'm like, did that just happen?
Yes. I was so confused. And I feel like Twitter was confused. Like everyone was so confused at what was happening in that moment. But I know you talked to Cale, D-Mac. So like, what did he have to say?
Well, the video,
and I guess get to a little backstory since you were there in person of like what actually went down.
All right. So listen, it's a tight game. There's no score. It's near the end of the first period. And Makar cycles with the puck behind his own net. And he gets, a stick on the shoulder. It's like a hook, and it's enough. It's enough on the shoulder with the blade and the hook, and he goes down. But he didn't go down because of the hook. They call it blowing a tire. He just lost an edge as he was, making his turn around the net. I mean, these guys go at severe, sharp angles, and that does happen every now and then. What was crazy is that instinctually, as soon as Makar got up, he waved to the ref and waved it off. Listen, I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't know you could actually tell a ref. Now, I have seen, it's so funny you point out that PSA, is that the basketball game, and the guy's like, Coach, I touched the ball. It was out on me. And his teammates are like, thanks, thanks, Tony, or whatever. And, it's like, honesty. Way to go, son. What's crazy is this has happened before last year with Ovechkin. He actually had a similar situation where there was a penalty called and he told the ref, no, it's not really a penalty. So amazingly, it has actually happened now twice in the past couple of years. But talking to Cale, listen, we're laughing about it. He was not laughing about it after the game, which is kind of even a funnier part of things because of how serious it actually got. Because it was a scoreless game. And right now the Avs are fighting for whatever points they can because of injury. Cale felt legitimately bad. He apologized to his teammates. It's fun to joke about now because they did get 2 points. But guys, what if they didn't? And you cost your team a power. Now, there's nothing to say they would have cashed in on the power play, but there were very few power play opportunities. God, did the Avs have 2 power plays maybe yesterday, something like that? Not many at all. I don't think there was a penalty called in the third period. So, guys, Cale actually felt really bad about it. And then at the end, because I felt like he was loosening up talking about it, I said to him as I'm walking away, I go, well, your mom and dad would be proud of you, right? Like, hey, you did the right thing. And he goes, no, they want us to win. And then he gets like really serious about it. Like he let down his parents. And I'm like, oh, hey, it's cool. Thank you, Cale. So there was not, I'm telling you this, there was not a light moment with Cale Makar about this incident whatsoever after the game. In fact, he's so serious about it. How do you not find that hysterical? And then we go over to Evan Rodriguez, who had a hell of a shootout goal, right? And we said, hey, are you going to give Cale a hard time? Yeah. And he goes, no, he's Cale Makar. I'm not going to do that. And Ben says, well, because Cale Makar, he is, even though he's young, he's on this kind of crazy. The only guys who could give him a hard time is like Landeskog and maybe, McKinnon. Aside from that, you're going to keep your mouth shut around Cale Makar. So what a fascinating night. And it goes to deeper questions about what is the right thing to do, sportsmanship. I think he's getting a lot of praise for it, but he was not proud of it, and he vowed he would never do it again.
I think that's so funny, but we do have the Evan Rodriguez, thanks to you, DMAC clip. And I think I love this clip just because of how much he is like, this is Cale Makar. I'm not going to say anything. So roll the clip, Jake.
That's just Cale. I don't know. He's an honest player. He goes about the game the right way. He's mature. It's kind of who he is. And, good for him.
Does anyone sort of jokingly give him crap at all? Like he cost us a power play on it, or
you're not giving Cale crap?
Yeah,
it's Cale Makar. So I'm sure not doing it. So
he said he felt guilty. He was like, I felt bad for the boys.
Yeah, it's Cale. He can do what he wants in my book.
Can you imagine having that power at such a young age that the rest of your teammates look at you and it's like, that's Cale Makar. Like, I'm not going to say anything to that guy.
Well, Rodriguez he's an important player for the Avalanche, and he's, one of their top six, and, he's a guy. But he wasn't with them last year. He's still young on this team, and it is Cale Makar. And I look at Cale Makar, and I'm like, he's still a young guy and all that. But when you take a step back and you realize what he's already done, you can see why he's rightfully earned that respect. And I certainly didn't mean to insult him asking about his parents. I said it in a lighthearted way, but he just was not joking around about it after the game, guys. Not at all. It was like Josh Manson, when he got 3 minor penalties in one period, was joking around about it. But Cale wasn't at all. So it just, the legend of Cale Makar, it grows with him waving off. It was I call the game the Cale call-off game, Colorado Avalanche.
And hockey players have this unbelievable attitude that DMAC is alluding to, where it's like, as soon as the 60 minutes is over, you're back in the locker room joking with the boys. But as a kid who grew up playing hockey, there is honor amongst thieves. In soccer, you would go down as soon as you are touched because of the opportunity to get a foul is so huge in soccer that you need to flop. Baseball, if you don't wear that hit by a pitch and you are getting out of the way, as you will ask either of DMAC's kids who played baseball, that's, your teammates are giving you a lot of crap for that. In hockey, though, and it's funny because a power play is such an advantage for 2 minutes and it's a high opportunity to score. If you go down and you draw a penalty for a trip, but it's because you actually fell, you're going to the bench and your team is giving you crap. Like, it's like you didn't really fall there. You got to be stronger. Oh, how's your ankles, buddy? Like, so I feel like there's this funny thing where it's like his team obviously wants him to draw the penalty. But in hockey, there's like this code where you need to be tough at all times. You need to legitimately have maybe faced an injury to get this penalty. And Cale knew it just like, that's not it. I personally would do anything and everything at all costs to win anything. Like, that's how I am. But I had teammates growing up like Cale that would be like, nah, like, sir, that, like, I'm cool. Like, you missed it. And when there's only a couple pairs of ice on the ice, of eyes on the ice, and most people don't realize this, there's only 2 people that can call penalties on the ice, 2 referees. There's 2 linesmen too. So the referees miss a ton of things that happen in hockey games. And they're often at bad angles. So
it's funny you say that because Cale actually referenced that as well. because the call came from the ref that was up the ice, not the one that was closest to him. So also in hockey, you can draw a minor penalty for embellishment, which is flopping. So,
which, by the way, D-Mac, it's one of the funniest penalties because oftentimes they'll call one guy for tripping and one guy for embellishment. You either were tripped or you were embellished. You can't. How is it always both?
Well, I mean, last night it was just a sharp angle and he lost an edge.
Right.
You know, so it was neither a penalty, really. There wasn't enough contact, nor was it embellishment. He just, hey, you are on skates. You got to these guys are so good. You kind of forget they're on a very thin, sharp blade on ice. You forget that that's actually happening at the same time.
Rachel, do you know how big a hockey blade is? How the actual cut of what patch of ice you are on? Do you know how big it is?
It's like this.
It's an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it is so small.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, when you get your blade cut, it's an eighth of an inch, but the standard cut is like 7/8 cut, which gives you most of the blade. But these guys at the highest level, they'll do a 5/8 cut, which is ridiculous. Most of us could not even stand on a 5/8 cut. 7/8,
and they have to sharpen them every period because it goes away so quick. So like that could just be Cale's blade was not that sharp at that point in the period because he skates so much and he puts so much, iron down on the ice.
You're right.
You guys,
anyways, what a quirky night.
So even the thought of that makes me want to laugh. Like I'm the person that needs the kid thing that you go out with when you go ice skate. But it makes me wonder, do you guys both believe in sports gods? Because I know that Cale alluded to the hockey gods. Like, are you there? Like, if you're playing baseball and you take a hit, something good's gonna come of this. Or
I'm telling you, this is at least the fifth or sixth time in the past 2 years Cale Makar has referred to the hockey gods. He says it so. He's such a low speaker and he doesn't have a lot of emotion, but he has used the term hockey gods multiple times, and I love it. I think it's hysterical when Cale Makar refers to the hockey gods. I'm not exactly sure what I know he's used hockey gods, like if you put enough shots on net, the hockey gods will reward you. I'm not exactly sure what he was talking about with the hockey gods. I mean, I guess being a good person, but he did reference the hockey gods last night. And I am a little confused, like where the hockey gods sit with this. But there is honor amongst hockey players, a very honorable sport. And it's, boy, talk about anti-flopping. I mean, I love the World Cup. I did. But you guys realize as soccer people, and I'm one too, the worst part about soccer is the flopping. I mean, it's a joke. And I am glad that the penalty kicks that were in the World Cup final were justified. It really was a handball. It was really a penalty that should have been called because he had an opportunity to take the ball to the net. Like, I think they were legit penalty calls. Thank God. Because I'd hate for something to be decided on a flop or some sort of other embellishment. And I do love, by the way, real quick in soccer, how they use replay to determine certain penalties and certain calls. They use that VAR. And I think they should do that in more sports. And it could have helped last night. First of all, why does a player get to choose whether the penalty is called off? I mean, I know it's weird, but why is that an option? When you think about it, it's crazy.
Shout out to the ref, by the way, who was willing to be corrected there.
True.
The whole culture.
I mean, you got to take it from the player, right? Take it from the mouth that it actually happened from.
Yeah. But I want to say on the gods point, baseball players believe in this concept more than just about anyone. And it's like this karma thing. Like, as long as I respect the game, it'll respect me back and treat me well back. Last night, Cale Makar does the right thing. The Avs end up winning. Charlie Blackmon was the most person of this I've ever seen in my life. And I grew up around baseball. I've been around baseball my whole life. He would say, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. But then he would also work out at the exact same time every day. He would make sure that when the pitching mound for his batting practice was set up the exact amount of feet away every single day, the same way. He would never step on the lines going onto the field. He would adjust his pants the same way. He wouldn't change his underwear after wins. This is when I was covering the Rockies. So it's like, Yeah, Charlie, you're not that superstitious. But it's true. Like, this is just what happens in a baseball clubhouse. And, you're taught from a very young age as a baseball player, you never step on the foul line. You want to continue your routines when you're in there for your batting. So it is just something athletes do because they're quirky madmen that we love to be around.
Fine. But like, would a catcher who frames a pitch that was a ball outside the zone and the umpire calls it a strike, look up to the ump and goes, "Nah, Blue, that was a ball"? I mean, that doesn't happen.
I did do that after it was called a strike, though. Like, after I threw it away, I'm like, you missed that one.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that happens.
Hold on. We only get these two for a couple of minutes, so I want to hop over to them. We're going to ask them about the sports gods as well, because they're both athletes in their past days. But Stokely and Zach join us now, all thanks to Cherry Creek Shopping Center. Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
Doing all right.
Doing great. How y'all doing?
Good. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah to everyone who celebrates as well. Real quick, though, we were just talking about like sports gods. We were talking about how Cale Makar, was talking about the hockey gods. Do you both, I know you were both football, basketball players. Did you both believe in sports gods, that if you did something the right way, you were going to be rewarded?
Yeah, we actually talk about that on our show quite a bit. We talk about the football gods, and what that means. For me, is just being honorable, respecting the process, respecting your opponent. I'll give you recent examples. Caleb Williams, a quarterback from USC, writes, "F you, bleep bleep, Utah going to the Pac-12 a championship game." Bad hockey football gods frown on that. Nathaniel Hackett not respecting how hard football is in training camp and thinking that you can lounge your way to week one. Football gods don't respect that. So, we talk about, it's an all-encompassing, I think, sort of phrase about really like just doing things the right way, not cutting corners. And, you can take that a bunch of different directions.
Yeah, I just try to do, have good karma on me. Like you feel like, hey, anything can help. So if you're a good person, you do good things and you approach things the right way and you work hard, it's going to work out for you.
Okay, so how about if a penalty is called on you, but it's not actually a penalty? Are you telling the ref, hey, that wasn't it, or are you taking
No. Heck no. Why would you do that? I'm trying to win, though. Look, winning is here. All that other stuff is there. I'm trying to win. So I would not now, hockey's a different sport. I was always trying to beg, borrow, and steal for pass interference calls. And if I could cheat to get one and be, pretend like he tripped me or held me, that's what I would do. Always trying to get an edge and trying to get a penalty. But I guess hockey's different.
Well, and I'll say this too is,
you used to flop all the time, right? You showed me all the videos of you flopping and trying to get those extra fouls
at the end of the game.
Yeah,
right? The game's decided.
Yeah, you're flopping.
Cale also didn't bring that upon himself, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference there. Like, Cale wasn't purposefully trying to, disrupt the hockey gods. It was the official who made a mistake. Maybe Cale earned some extra karma from the hockey gods by owning it in the way that he did. But I've never seen that. I mean, I've really never seen that before, the way that he did what he did. And then the official listens to him. Right. Like, the official...
wouldn't you listen to him? Like if the guy said, no, it's not a penalty, that you're the one that called it, you're going to look really foolish. You'd be like, okay, cool. Thanks, buddy. Like, you really feel like I owe you one.
I actually see it the other way. Cale said after the game, I think I saved the ref, some, whatever. I don't think so. I think if he doesn't say anything, refs miss calls in every single game all the time. The fact that Cale actually stepped up and was like, no, that's the reason that we're talking about this. Had he just not said anything, we're not talking about this. Maybe for 2 seconds on a radio program, but it's not like going viral, online or anything like that. So,
but don't you think he earned some bonus points from that ref though in that situation? Like the ref was like, all right, that was cool, thank you. You didn't do it. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
because no one does that usually.
Yeah, maybe. I just think it was a unique thing, not a referendum on. I don't know. Cale's a good kid. I mean, I don't know. He's a good kid.
Yeah, but he felt bad about it afterwards. He apologized to his teammates and said he would never do it again. So it's not, guys, I just think he reacted. And at the end, when I was talking to him at the end, because he was talking about it for 3 or 4 minutes, and at the end of all the talking about it, he finally just said, yeah, I don't know why I did that. Like it was crazy. So he's not like saying, yes, that's the right thing to do. Everybody should do it. I will do it again. And I will be that PSA, no, he said he made a mistake.
Yeah, he probably did. I don't think you'll see him do that ever again. I mean, because like Stokes said, really, like in the heat of battle, that mistake's on the official. You're not tempting fate. You're not, you know what I mean? Like the official missed a call. The Avs benefited from it. Cale waves it off. If it ever happens again, like that, actually it'd be kind of weird if it happened again.
Yeah. Well, the problem is too, it's not like, another team's going to repay the good deed from the Avs. So if the Avs get screwed, they're just going to get screwed. Right. So, when it's advantage you, take advantage of it and don't say anything. Take the penalty.
The funny part is how quickly he just reacted to wave it off. He didn't think about it.
Right.
It's going to be one of those things, though, where how if you say something really stupid, even like 5 years later, you're like, I remember saying that really stupid thing, and you just think about it in your head. That's going to be this for Cale Makar. But I know we only have you for a few more minutes, gentlemen. So we know Cale's getting some nice points. Who's getting some nice points from the Broncos after they beat the Cardinals?
I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. I mean, what a great game he had, establishing that run game, had a couple explosive runs. Looked great. And, when the team needed him the most, he delivered. Obviously, backup quarterback, offensive line struggling in pass protection. Easiest thing to do is to turn it around and hand it off. And this guy wasn't even here, 4 or 5 months ago. So, been a really nice addition to this offense. And, it was a big-time performance from him.
No, for sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rachel. No, I was just going to go with the naughty on the naughty list. In a win, kind of feel bad about it. But I'll go with Brandon McManus, who is leading the NFL in missed kicks. He's got 10 missed kicks this year. He's got multiple extra points missed this year. He missed a 38-yarder on Sunday. He tweeted about it after the game. So he's, frustrated, well aware. He said, a bleeping 38 yards, terrible. We're just not used to seeing McManus miss. Like, it's one thing if you're missing the 58-yarder or whatever Fangio asked him or not Fangio, Hackett asked him to, kick one from, whatever
83
from the moon. So there's context here. 5 of the missed kicks this year are 50 yards or more. So I mean, those are bombs. That's not McManus' strength. His strength has been nails from really like 48 yards and in, and he's missing those kicks this year, and it's unusual to see.
Is it just because, they didn't have a crazy training camp? I know he's a veteran. He's the only player left from the Super Bowl 50 team, but to continue to be really good at your craft, you have to continue to practice all the time. We saw him in the ref's uniform. Like, what's going on with Brandon McManus? And is it because the idea out there at Dove Valley is, you're a veteran, you can take it a little bit easier? We're seeing the easy training camps.
No, I don't think so with McManus. Look, those kickers, they kick one day, then they have 2 days off, and that's always been the case. You don't want to wear their legs out and all this and that, and so those guys are always treated differently anyway. They weren't really like a part of what everyone else did. It was like everyone else practices and does their thing, and there's the kickers over there, in their tennis shoes, laughing and joking and playing two-hand touch or something half the time. That's just what they always do. So I don't think that's the case. I think kicking is, one of those things like golf. I mean, it's up and down. It's hard, and especially if you're struggling a little bit mentally, it can get to you. So hopefully he can finish strong here down the stretch.
And let me just say this. I mean, this is context that deserves to get mentioned since we're talking about it. He's popped up on the injury report in the last couple of weeks. So he's obviously dealing with something. I believe that's part of the story.
New holder, had a couple bad snaps, kind of bad holds this year also that have played a factor in that.
I think McManus told us this offseason he's had a new holder every single year for like 6 straight years. So that's not ideal either. But you control what you can control. And obviously he missed one from 38. He was frustrated about it after the game. That's something he can control. So, in a Broncos win for the first time in a long time, I feel bad putting him on the naughty list, but it's been a different sort of season for BMAC.
You got to make those, man. You just got to. And Stoke, was that a little bit of resentment there towards the kickers, the fact that they were off there just, playing, doing whatever while you were working out?
Did you get that? Is that what you gathered from there?
But I don't blame you.
I mean, look, hey, very jealous, like out there in 2 days and you kind of look over and they're just, they're having so much fun. And so, yeah, a lot of jealousy towards the kickers.
Yeah, you know, if you can put a costume on during your own practice, you have a different type of job detail.
Pretty good gig.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, gentlemen, thank you both so much for hanging out with us here for a little bit. Have a great show.
All right, see you guys.
Hey, Rachel,
Yes.
did you know I won 4 weeks in a row? I mean,
I
4
did hear
weeks this year. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that or not. I know
We got one
D-Mac.
more
How many has D-Mac won? Oh, that's right, 0. How many have you won this year? 1, no, 0. I'm 4. Like, they're putting me up there with Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, like the greats of the greats, winning championships. 4 weeks. I won week 1. I told you I was going to be back a lot. I was going to be back
3.
What?
I'm coming for you, Stoke. I got 3.
You got 3?
I'm catching up. End of the
short.
season, I'm catching up.
You got 3 weeks left. You got no chance.
Catching up.
4 for me. And it's like one of the most dominant performances in King Super's fan football pick'em history. And it's just legendary. Everyone outside is talking about it. People are lined up. I'm going to have to sign some autographs after this before I go get on my show. Big shout out to King Super's. Another championship for Stokely. I'm going to put that with that Ravens ring, the Colts ring. Add that to the list. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for having me. King Super's. Bam.
Bam, drop the mic. There goes Stokely and Zach. As always, thanks to Cherry Creek Shopping Center for bringing them on Coffee Break to hang out with us. Jake, bro, D-Mac and I, we're far down. You're the only one who has a shot at possibly beating Stoke. So I need you to really think hard this week when you're doing your picks, okay?
I'm going to keep doing actually what I've been doing, Rachel, which is literally half the time while I'm producing Coffee Break on Thursday morning, I go, oh yeah, that's right. The NFL schedule starts today. And I just go, I like that team's jersey. What's the weather there? I think I like them to win. Which, you know what? That's been working for me as someone who, I got passed by Stokely in the overall. Maybe I actually will think about this a little bit this week. Oh, yikes. I had a bad week.
What's really funny is, did you guys see the weather forecast for Saturday's games? Most of them are like in single digits, or some of them are even like in the negatives when it comes to wind chill. Like, it is going to be such a cold day for football come Saturday. Also, there are so many game slates on Saturday. I'm like shocked. I don't ever remember them doing this on Christmas Eve or Christmas. Like, it's like a full thing. And I know it's coming on a Saturday and Sunday, but it's just like a full slate of games on Saturday. I was shocked by it.
All right. I got a test for Smarty Pants Jake Shapiro.
Oh.
How many Christmases does it fall on a Sunday? How often does Christmas fall on a Sunday? How many years?
It's like every 7 1/4 years because of the leap year. So it's between 7 and 8, but there's a decimal there. And Rachel, to answer your question, the last time this happened was the last time there was NFL games on Christmas on a Sunday. They typically move most of the games to Saturday and keep a couple prime ones on Sunday. I don't know. I guess Red Zone's probably on Saturday this week. I want to check that out, see what day Red Zone.
So for some perspective,
this
would only be the 4th time in roughly 30 years that this has actually happened. Mm-hmm. So it's a really unusual situation, or relatively unusual. And it's kind of cool. I mean, you get awesome action on Saturday, and then it's like a Thanksgiving day. Because like on Christmas, like seriously, like what time are you sick of dealing with your family and stuff? I mean, like what time of the day? See, I see Thanksgiving as an afternoon holiday and Christmas as a morning church Santa sort of deal. I'd say most Christmases by noon, that's a wrap. Like, you're kind of done with it, you know? I mean, there's reasons why movie theaters do such brisk business on Christmas Day. So I think it's fantastic. I think it lines up beautifully, period.
Yeah, NFL coming for the NBA, man. Putting all those games on Christmas.
Yeah, how about that, too? That's interesting, because you're going to have – usually that gets left alone. Usually that's the NBA all to itself, and you got some serious competition this week.
Yeah, seriously. But again, back to that weather thing, you guys, I am not mentally prepared for single digits here in Colorado.
So Rachel,
but Rachel, what are you doing? Are you going outside? Are you? You got some activity planned?
Possibly driving. to head back to my boyfriend's hometown. So possibly could be in the car for those. I know we're more likely leaving probably tomorrow, so we avoid, any car problems if it's really that cold and windy. But yeah, I might possibly be in the car.
Well, how long of a drive is that?
7.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. You should not leave on Thursday or Friday. It's going to be, if you can avoid it, that's you do coffee break tomorrow.
Peace out.
Coffee
break from Kansas on Thursday, everybody.
Your boyfriend lives in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. That's where he grew up.
Right next to Manhattan, Kansas State.
Oh boy, I've been there. You go through all those windmills out there on I-70. I've seen it. It sucks.
That's what everyone talks about on the drive. You should see it at night. It's really cool. Anyways, go ahead, Jake.
D-Mac, you strike me as someone who's watched Ice Road Truckers just like myself. And Rachel, the one thing I can give you as a piece of advice as someone who used to watch Ice Road Truckers is make sure your car stays on if it is that cold. Do not turn your car off for any reason except to refill it with gas, because obviously you don't want to cause an explosion. So that's my piece of advice to you. And just looking up the temperatures on Saturday, Bills at Bears, -11. Seahawks at Chiefs, -6. Saints at Browns, -9. Texans at Titans, 5. Falcons at Ravens, 7. Raiders at Steelers, -4. Broncos, 74 degrees.
Yeah, baby.
Woo! Broncos head out to California to take on the Rams, the Super Bowl champs. Okay, well, we do need to get into something Mark Schlereth said this morning, because it's actually very interesting and, in my opinion, also very true. Go ahead and hit the clip, Jake.
Brett Rypien operates that offense better than Russell Wilson operates that offense, bar none. No questions asked. It's not even close. It's just not.
Does that mean Brett Rypien's a better quarterback than Russell Wilson?
No, it doesn't mean that he's a more dynamic player, or it just means that he is better right now at functioning the system than Russell Wilson is.
Did you all notice how it said Rypien? You can't, on the program we use, I can't personally change what it says, but it cracked me up that it's Brett Rypien. And I just think because he brought us a present by winning or beating the Cardinals on Sunday. I can't talk today. But anyways, I'm also getting a question. You didn't do trivia. Did you know we are not doing trivia? I promise trivia will be back in the new year, though, so hang tight with us there. But D-Mac, go ahead. What do you think of Mark saying that Brett Rypien is better than Russell Wilson?
That's disappointing. And I'll take, hey, Mark does this for a living, okay? He analyzes tape. He breaks it down. He's an X's and O's guys on Fox. For him to say that is horrible, but it does confirm what I've been saying now for weeks, and that the number one problem is Russell Wilson. It's not Nathaniel Hackett. If you want to make Nathaniel Hackett, I've been doing some digging around on Hackett, okay? So here's what my birdies have been telling me about Hackett. He's close to being done. Close. But it's not all the way out the door. There is a sliver of hope. The most important game for him to continue is this game Sunday against the Rams, because, as I've been told, it's about him working with Russell Wilson. Now, of course, I think this is whack. Hackett didn't have anything to do with him coming here. That was George Payton. Hackett has nothing to do with an older, aging, dad bod, concussed quarterback, but yet he has to be his livelihood, his family, all of his assistant coaches, theoretically, everything's on the line with this game on Sunday. So don't tell me there's nothing to play for. While there's nothing to play for the standings or the playoffs, these are livelihoods, not Russell Wilson's either. Like, Russell has nothing to worry about. And I'm sure he has enough cash in his pocket for his next adventure in Blackhawk. But these coaches, and I don't feel bad for them too, they have guaranteed contracts in the millions. But in terms of sticking around and, doing this job, Sunday, if Mark's right, that is bad news. Because if Mark's right, then they'll get a less than performance from Russell Wilson against a similar bad opponent. You have a fair test here. The Cardinals were bad and the Rams are bad. I get it that the game's on the road, not at home, but guys, let's face it. You can't have a better place to play on the road than Los Angeles. There'll probably be more Broncos fans there than Rams fans. And the weather's going to be absolutely ideal. Russell Wilson made a big show about how he passed protocol by talking to the media on Friday and then going to Blackhawk later that night. I think that was a calculated move to prove that he is fine. I don't think anything happens by accident with Russell Wilson. And you better, Russell Wilson, play well against the Rams, because we've seen what Brett Rypien can do. And Brett wasn't incredible, but he was good enough. He was good enough, and Russell Wilson's got to be better than that on Sunday, or Mark's right. And if Mark's right, then the real problem, again, what I think, is that Russell Wilson is the issue, not Hackett.
Everyone in Los Angeles, what do they do on Christmas? They go to the beach. That is going to be a very neutral environment. And just like the last time Russell Wilson sat out a game, the next game came in a neutral environment in London. And we will see if Russ in a standalone game can really, recapture some of what happened in that Chiefs game in the second and third quarters. But where I'm at with Russell Wilson, and I wrote this morning for DenverFan.com, I think Brett Rypien is better at running this offense, like Stink said. I think Brett Rypien is better at game managing the Broncos to victory as long as they have a successful run game. But if you ask me, who do I want to be the quarterback of the Broncos down a possession in the fourth quarter, I still think Russell Wilson is the guy that's going to be more apt to lead you to a win and a comeback win. What I will say about Brett Rypien is, DMAC, and I think you probably noticed this as well, the interception that Brett Rypien threw, it was a really bad throw, but it looked like he thought that it was a free play because J.J. Watt jumped off sides, which means, because that's really understandable, Brett Rypien more or less played mistake-free football that entire game. And with this defense, a quarterback that plays mistake-free football should more or less give you, 8 wins over the course of a year. So
here's the problem. This conversation is a problem. This is ridiculous because I can think of like 50 quarterbacks that are better than Brett Rypien. So for us to have like Rypien better than Russell Wilson this is insane. This should be a no-brainer. Russell Wilson is far better than Brett Rypien in this conversation. The fact that we're having a reasonable back and forth on this is ridiculous. So we can't go through this next year. I get it. Wilson's going to be back. But George Payton will not be doing his job unless he makes things at least a little uncomfortable behind Russell Wilson. And if whoever that is better for the team to win, then he should be playing, never mind the money. You're hashtag stuck with Russ, okay. But you're not stuck without competition for Russ, and you're certainly not stuck with not doing the best thing for your team to have a chance to win. So if Brett Rypien is seriously better than Russell Wilson, he should be playing this week. But again, we are in preseason football. These games do not matter. What matters is, can Hackett get Wilson to work well within the confines of this offense? And right now, can you believe it? All we're saying is, can Russell Wilson be as good as Brett Rypien? That's ridiculous.
It's sad. Okay, so here's my other question. We saw the run game get going. I'm assuming that was the game plan because Brett was in. Does that continue this week, or does Russ go back to, I want to lead this, we're going to throw the ball?
Well, it should. I'm
saying, but are we going to see who has control? Are we going to see, hey, we know it's working and if we're able to run the ball, or are we going to say, hey, the quarterback's clearly in charge and he's going to choose what he wants?
The Broncos didn't do that until like the second half and maybe the second quarter of that game. They came out throwing the ball and they realized that wasn't going to work. Yeah. So maybe it's not even a Russ versus Rip game plan thing. It's just like, hey, we found something in that Cardinals game that works for us, and we're going to try that again now with Russ.
You can throw the ball, but like what was succeeding for Rypien and why his numbers actually look okay is funny because his passer rating is high, but his QBR is low. And the reason is because it was thinking and dunking. All of his completions, I think he averaged like 6.7 yards per completion, something like that. And you can do that with Russell Wilson. You can dink and dunk and screens and short throws all you want. The problem that Rypien got in is when they tried real pass plays. Like when he had to take a significant drop and wait for a 15-yard out or something like that, or a go route, all those things that get big yards, that wasn't working because the offensive line was an absolute disaster. So why mess around? Dink and dunk all you want to set up play action. and then get the running game around the edge with Latavius Murray. I mean, that is what worked on Sunday, and that's what worked for a decade in Seattle. So, I mean, what are we doing here? We got Russell Wilson. I get it. Hey, guys, guess what, Russ? You're not going to get MVP votes. It's going to be tough for you to make it into the Hall of Fame. So unless you want your rest of your career to be an injured embarrassment, you better get on board with what was working for you for a decade.
Okay, I see, D-Mac. I see. I can tell you are done with Russ, but you hashtag no, you're stuck with Russ.
We're all stuck with Russ. We're stuck. Specifically, it should really be stuck with Russ's contract. I mean, that's what the problem is. Listen, Russell Wilson isn't a bad guy. I mean, I don't think if the dealer's showing 5 and, he's got a 6, I think he's just going to stand pat. I don't think he's going to screw up the rest of the table and hit. If he's got 16 against a 5, he's not going to be a jerk. Is he? I don't think so.
I think he believes in the football gods. Okay, so I guess here's my main concern is that we know that the run game is going to work. And I'm really concerned that come Sunday, they're not going to do it. So who's to blame if they don't involve the run game more, Jake?
Well, do we know that the run game is going to work, or do we know that the Cardinals are just really bad? And the Rams
are bad too.
Correct. But the Rams have had better defenses historically, at least in the last few years, than the Cardinals. However, the guy who is helping run that Rams defense is now running the Broncos defense. So I'm not entirely sure that it's a 1-for-1 like-for-like comparison, but I would expect that the Broncos run game could get off against the Rams, because I think the best thing they do as a defense is pass rush, and they've got a good cornerback and stuff like that. I don't know if there's anyone particularly to blame, but the thing we're all going to do is if all of a sudden they come out hucking the ball again and they don't change midstream and say that's not working, if that happens again, like they've done all season, just continue to huck the ball, I think we're all going to go, why can't they adjust the game plan for Russell Wilson? I don't know if that comes down to the fact that Justin Houghton literally does nothing whatsoever, or that Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have the stones to go up to Russell Wilson, or the fact that Russell Wilson is there and you might as well let him do whatever he wants because it doesn't matter. So I don't know who's to blame there, but I think it's an organizational, systematic failure from the Broncos, which this entire season honestly has been.
Yeah, I'm just looking up who the Rams are. Sorry about being distracted here, but the Rams, hey guys, they only score, 16.4 per game. They allowed 22.9. They're not a great team. What are they with passing and everything? Yeah, they're just a very, very mediocre team. You can do kind of whatever you want against them. Hey, do we know about Aaron Donald, what his health is going to be? The Broncos like to set up the defensive player of the week, no matter who they're playing, as they've done with, how many guys have become the defensive player? How does J.J. Watt not the defensive player of the week?
Aaron Donald's going to be flying across the country just to find the doctor that'll clear him.
Right. Oh, he'll be calling it in just like Russ does, right? Okay.
Yeah, Russ can loan out his medicals team.
Yeah. They're probably from LA anyway, so they're right.
Hey guys, it's a concussion, okay? You're flying in your medical team for a concussion? What are we doing here?
Well, it's better than trying to heal it with water, D-Mac.
Well, you got those magic bubbles, Jake. You never know what those are going to do for you.
All right, this show has gone way faster than I anticipated it to, but we have to talk about tonight's game between the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. A really, really good matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to, see the number 1 and number 2 seed to really compete. What are you expecting tonight, Jake?
Ja Morant came to Denver last year and absolutely killed the Nuggets.
Awesome.
It was one of the greatest performances I've seen from a visiting athlete in Denver. I will not take my eye off this game for a single second. Like, I might not even be on social media because it's going to be art. I'm expecting the Nuggets to get blasted. The Grizzlies have been by far and away the best basketball team in the month of December. I think their net rating's like plus 12 or something. It's crazy. They've had like the best defense and one of the better offenses. Jaren Jackson has taken that next step. They're doing this all without Desmond Bane, who's their second best player. Steven Adams historically is a guy that stops Nikola Jokic at least to a level, like calms him down a little bit. I just don't think the Nuggets are competing with this team without Michael Porter Jr., who will not be playing in this game. So I'm expecting a tough night for the Nuggets, especially the way that they're playing right now. I don't think it's an indictment overall on these two teams heading into the postseason, but I do think it could be ugly for the Nuggets tonight.
Wow. Jake dropping a hammer there. I think the Nuggets rise to the occasion. I think they've got this one circled. I'll agree with you. Of all the opponents that came into Denver, I was blown away by John Morant more than any other player that the Nuggets hosted last year, and I was at every game last season at Ball Arena. I love John Morant. I love the vibe that's going to be there. I bet you anything Peyton Manning's in the house because his wife, Ashley, is a part owner of the Grizzlies. Good for Ashley. And I think the Nuggets are only, with all your criticisms, Jake, which are valid, the Nuggets are one game behind Memphis for first place in the West. One. And the game's on national TV tonight, which in general the Nuggets don't care about. But there's another weird factor, a really weird factor. I don't think Jamal Murray's going to play tonight. And on the surface, you say, oh, that's bad. Except he's been terrible the past couple of games. Incredibly inconsistent because he's being bothered by irritation in his knee. So I think Michael Malone's been putting out a handicap to the Nuggets. Guys, no joke. I think the Nuggets are better off. They're better off with a good Jamal Murray, no doubt about it. But without the good Jamal Murray, the bad Jamal Murray, they're better off just without him than just sort of a 60, 70% Jamal Murray is not good enough. He's not. And so I think they catch a break without having Jamal Murray tonight if he's not going to be playing at his best, which he hasn't been. So I think it's a weird one, and it could be another huge night for Jokic. Absolutely monstrous night for Jokic.
Did y'all just tweet about Jokic? Isn't that who, a tweet?
So here you go, Rachel. So you know who starts for Jamal Murray, D-Mac, if Jamal's not there?
Who? Hold on. Because Brown's already starting for MPJ.
It's Bones Highland.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. And do not be surprised if Christian Brown gets a start for the Nuggets tonight.
So either way, Bones Highland will play big minutes. John Morant tweeted last week that Bones Highland is his favorite player in the NBA. John Morant also tweeted last week that Nikola Jokic is a stat demon or something. So John Morant loves the Nuggets. He is watching every Nuggets game. So that's a cool little twist in this as well.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for tonight's game. It's going to be fun. Hopefully the Nuggets can get a win. Otherwise, regardless, we're going to talk about it tomorrow morning.
Rachel, wait. Don't sign off yet. Sunday, Christmas Day, the Broncos are on CBS, as we know, but they're also on Nickelodeon. Who is watching the Nickelodeon broadcast with me? Because I'm all there.
The slime.
We might not even get any slime because it's between these two teams.
Is it only for touchdowns or what is it for? Oh.
I think they should slime if they get to 2nd and 7. Forget touchdowns. I definitely will be tuning. Out of curiosity, I will tune into Nickelodeon. But at the end of the day, it's just it's too much for a whole game. It's too much.
Who gets slimed? This is my question.
Oh,
do they just pick random people, or is there people that volunteer to get slimed? Who gets slimed? Are we talking just wives get slimed? What are we doing here?
Well, they slime the MVP of the game. That's who they slime. So,
but during the touchdowns,
they do it in the ends. I don't know. I don't think they.
So we could see Corliss Waitman covered in slime by the end of the game.
Gosh, I can only hope. Actually, it'd be really funny if Russell Wilson did it. I think that would be even more entertaining. Could you imagine that for his profile picture on Instagram?
Former Kids' Choice Awards attendee, Russell Wilson. Yeah.
See, he's all over the place. Him and that private jet, man. You never know what you can get to. Okay, anyways, that's going to do it here for coffee break today. Thank you guys so much for always hanging out with us, for commenting. We love reading all of them. We'll be back tomorrow morning, hopefully again, to talk about a Nuggets win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Come hang out with us, 10:30 a.m. Bye, everybody.